Shut up and sit down.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Coffee is the fuel of the modern world, so go grab a cup guilt-free and get working smarter and faster.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Lee Grand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. Everyone should believe in something. I believe I will have another coffee.
Man, I love coffee. It tastes so good, it makes me feel good.
There was a study that showed that if you drank 12 highly caffeinated energy drinks within a few hours, you would most likely die.
Hell yeah. Cancer-free, sharp brain, plenty of energy, terrible breath. Conclusion, coffee is the
Hi, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Turing. I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance friggin' Hepler.
Friggin' Hepler.
Welcome to our podcast. I had two crazy fan interactions this last weekend.
Nice.
You have fans? Yeah, apparently I wasn't aware of this.
Okay.
One was we had a New Year's Day gravel ride, and a guy showed up that I've never met before. I think his name was Dan, and I'm like, hi.
You better get his name right.
I'm like, I think it's Dan.
Oh, man, come on.
I'm like, hey, I'm Lance. He goes like, I'm Dan. Actually, I follow the podcast. How's Piper?
Oh, that's awesome.
How's Darby doing?
Your dog's way
How's
cooler
your
than
wife,
you are.
Brandy? And I'm like, okay, now this is weird.
You need to
like
rephrase that. Is he's a fan of your dog and just happens to listen to your podcast? Yeah.
Not sure about you.
And then I got a request for an autographed picture of my Strava profile picture.
What?
Ooh.
What's your Strava profile picture?
I
don't
know.
even know what that
We're
is.
all going to look. I
Now I
have no
wanna
idea
see
what it
this.
is.
Are
your pants on in this picture?
It is. It's a shot of me in a mountain bike race
I'll probably
on my mountain
recognize
bike
it.
with like.
Did
like,
somebody print it out and bring it to you and say, will you sign this?
No, it was a request, and I don't even know the guy. It's like
It's Lake. Not my home.
it's somebody. Whatever. But
I'd have to follow you on Strava.
What's your name on Strava again?
it's just Lance Hepler.
Lance,
you're not coming up.
you need to
Hold
put frickin' Hepler in there.
I need to
Yeah.
put friggin' in there.
Search. Did you do any workouts recently?
Yeah, yesterday, not today.
Okay.
Do you not have it set up in chronological, or do you?
That's a
think it's
good
in
picture.
chronological
That's a
order, but
really
I-
good picture. I like that.
But
That is cool.
my future daughter-in-law, this is a complicated story. My future daughter-in-law, her mother's boyfriend
Mother's boyfriend. Gotcha.
knows I race bikes and knows I have this podcast, and he told one of his buddies who rides
yeah?
bikes.
Oh, cool.
And so that guy says, hey, can you please get an autographed picture of Lance Romance?
Oh, jeez.
For me, that's
Lance
all I
Romance.
wanted
That's
for
actually pretty cool.
Christmas, so I got a request.
I have
for
never
an
signed
autographed
anything in my entire life and probably never will. So you've already.
You are 100% doing it, right?
I
Printing out
am,
this
I
picture.
am 100% doing it.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So. Okay, sorry, that was a long introduction.
No, I like that. That was awesome.
Perfect.
To his left, Evan Price.
What's up, guys? I just have like a smattering of food here. I got my Ghost Tropical Mango.
That's your
hot debate
sponsor.
on what's the best. Yeah, my sponsor Ghost over here. There was a hot debate recently on what's the better flavor between me and a friend of ours, Melissa, and we decided mango is the most approachable flavor, but not the best. So
Okay.
I'll be sticking with this a little bit more.
What's the most Wait, what's the best
The
then?
best is a hot take because it's a little sour, so it depends on what you want on that day. But it's a red like apple flavor.
I'll be trying 0
sour.
of these.
Yeah, you will. So don't worry. This is
It's okay. So you can just whatever you say.
I'm talking to guys drinking Pellegrini coffee and a child's chocolate milk.
Yes,
Terry
that's
won't like
exactly
this
what it is.
Dash might be outgrowing those soon.
Dash was like, "You can have it, Dad. I'm kind of too old for that."
Yeah. I'm doing my coffee over here, Dad. You can go and take that.
But you also have peanut butter filled pretzels, and
Yeah, which
on
is
the
almost tapped
And
out.
the picture of it is like a bike pump, but
it
instead
is.
it's like peanut butter pumping in
Oh,
the
you're right,
peanut
it
butter.
is. Yeah.
They're pumping in the peanut
I
butter.
think that's how they actually do it. Yeah, I think so.
I would love it.
That's
if
brilliant.
that's how it really happened.
It is. I'm pretty.
And
I'm reasonably sure that's how it really happens.
Just some like 7-year-old kid pumping peanut butter into pretzels.
It's a very the Kroger peanut butter factory is a real interesting one.
Come on,
Yeah.
Kroger.
Yep. And
Child labor laws, Kroger.
And then I have a Pop-Tart,
And
but
a
it's from the
Pop-Tart.
Kroger brand ones. You know how
He's
much money you
also
save just
eating
by going to
Pop-Tarts.
Kroger brand for everything?
Give
You
me
can save a
dollars.
ton of money.
You think you save a dollar,
so-
at least $1 per box
so
on
like,
that on the
so
Pop-Tarts?
like Pop-Tart, the actual company Pop-Tart.
Yep.
If you're getting a box, you only get 6 in the Pop-Tart box. You can
Okay.
get 12 in a Kroger one for $1 less than what it is in the 6
Whoa.
Pop-Tart.
So-
And these are better.
To be
Whoa.
a professional athlete, all you have to do is eat Pop-Tarts and drink
Well,
energy
don't
drinks.
forget
your
the
time.
peanut butter.
and peanut butter.
Spend your time. You
Okay,
gotta
there's
pump.
protein in there.
You gotta pump that
There's
in
a
there.
big missing part there. And also breakfast sandwiches. I'm a big sausage and egg fan right now.
Oh, yeah. That's
That's
good
perfect.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
That's about all I got.
Just left. Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? Yes, I am drinking a child's chocolate milk.
Child's chocolate milk.
Matt, please tell me that you had one of those when you got to Centralia doing the STP,
I don't remember.
the halfway point.
Don't
Roll up.
remember. I blocked out those memories.
Did you do the whole 200 in one day when you did that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to Centralia.
We were flying.
Were you on Jake's wheel that whole time? Or was
No.
that?
I
didn't
okay,
think
so
yeah.
quick story there. Why not tell a quick story?
Long back pedal.
Tell a quick story. We started and it was dark. It was
Yep.
quite dark that morning because we started at we wanted to start at
4:30.
4,
Yeah.
and we ended up starting at 4:30.
Correct.
Too early.
And it was like pitch black, and we're flying through these streets with hills and everything with
Safe.
300 of our closest friends
Fred.
with no fear in the world.
All named Fred.
And all named Fred.
That's true.
And like I was going as hard as I could. I think I was pushing 300 watts for a long time, and it was like
That's
which is-
smart in a
this is
200-mile
max.
race. That's a
And
good
this-
way to start.
And
Yeah.
this is the first 5 miles of the race because
Yeah,
I
that's
wanted to get
smart.
on their wheel because that was the deal. Like I was like, I'll just go with these guys as long as I can, and then whatever. And I never caught them or found them or whatever. They were gone, and I was like, well. I'm doing my own thing today, which I did, and it was great. But like
After a 20-minute FTP test, here we go. No,
there's
just-
I had no business pushing that many watts at the beginning of a 200-mile
no,
day.
absolutely not.
206.
It's like
Don't forget those last 6 miles.
It was
Those last 6 miles are the worst.
Do they allow TT bikes?
Yeah, 206,
at
you're right,
STP?
yeah.
How much
not.
would
Yes, they do.
How much would I be made fun of if I went like
I
a full
used-
skin suit and
You would
air
just-
helmet?
You would get glared at.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. I want all the
I
glares.
did use a TT bike.
Give me all the glares.
I've done it on a TT bike as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I want to go like full, like just
Air- I
look like
didn't-
I showed up to the UCI time trial championship. Like I want to look
I
that
think
bad.
I actually think
That would be on brand for you, Evan.
It would be. It'd
I
be
actually
perfect.
think it would be
no
cool.
socks either.
No socks.
The first year I did it, I didn't know a single soul out there. I've told this story before, and I ended up making some really good guys.
Yeah.
You know, meeting
Yeah.
some good guys out there that are still friends to this day. But we were all working together, and we knew that we were at the pointy end of this whole thing. But
Yeah.
there was a rumor that there was a guy up the road, and sure enough, there was. This was
TT
one of
guy.
the years that they had the chips in the helmet, right?
Yeah.
And so. Anyway, so we finished, and then they give the results and all that stuff, and we all finished in the top 10. But the one guy who did win, he was flying, and he had his wife running sag support with him, and he was changing bikes throughout the course of the ride.
Good for him.
And every time it was flat, she
if you're
would
gonna
she would be
do it-
standing there,
Yep.
ready to go
Good
for him
for him.
to dismount, jump on the TT bike so he could straight fly.
Just giving like pushes.
If
and
that
stuff.
man is listening to this, I want you on this podcast so we can talk about how much effort you
Yeah.
put into that because that's amazing.
But here's the thing.
It's a Fondo where
That's
there isn't,
so
it's
cool.
not even a
I
race.
love the
They had
Fondo guy.
timing chips, so
the
I mean,
true Fondo guys, I love like the guys who go to that race and they're like, I am going to destroy people in this Fondo.
I like that because it's like, how fast can you do 200 miles?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a pretty fast course if you think about it.
It's like
That's really cool.
5,000 feet of climbing for 200 miles. That's not
no
much.
climbing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like I would love to see what Evan could do, like all out for 200 miles.
I could go. I would love to
It's
say I
all-
could average almost 25 on a course like that.
Well, it's about
24,
nutrition
25.
and all that stuff comes into play.
Chance.
Yeah, I could.
You would crack it like hour 7.
I did.
Just crack.
No,
Hour
I did.
7.
I did 24 high on a course with turnarounds when we
Yeah,
did our
that's true.
simulated Ironman.
that's
4
112.
hours.
That's 112, dude.
Oh, I know.
That's not 7 hours
Put
or
it,
9
slap another
hours.
100 miles on that, and you're
I
going to
know.
change your tune just a
Well,
little bit.
no.
You're
It
going
was
fast, but
it was 112 with a marathon after it. So I think you guys are. I would make it to 160 to really start to hurt. It would really start to hurt at 160.
I think the thing
Yeah.
is you could
200 is a long way.
You could literally stop and still be way up there in the field. Like you might be. Like,
yeah, but if I
first.
stop, that's bad at that point. That would really suck.
No, you could like stop and eat. I mean, they're rest areas. I mean, that's what
gotcha.
they're there for.
we really
Because
should do this one year.
You would just
need
pass
to
out
refuel.
on the bike as you're pedaling.
That's the
You would
thing.
just- You would
Kinda
just
like-
ride
Because
into the
Pacing a
ditch.
200 mile. I mean, the longest I've ever ridden a time trial bike was 120 miles, and I feel like another 80 on top. That's a lot. That's a long way. Nobody just rides a
Remember
time
how
trial
he
bike
looked
alone.
when he was doing that Everest attempt? That you looked like you were going to pass out on the bike. at that point.
Yes, he did.
I had another 30 minutes of me before I was going to die.
You
but
have
yeah.
a dangerous ability to hurt yourself, which is kind of scary.
It's more just a zone out sensation, but
That kind of stuff is a little bit scary because there's cars on the road and stuff too. So
yeah, that's actually the stuff that's always worried me with ultra cycling. Is
What are you doing in June?
Not that.
you should do it sometime. I would. Love to see.
I think one of these years I'd
and,
like it.
And no joke, it'd be cool if you were like TT helmet.
Oh, I will. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
just
If I'm
do
doing
it,
that, I'm
right?
not going
Just
out
do
there
it.
on my
Let me know
road
when you
bike.
do it because I'll train with you.
Yeah, I think that'd be a
And
lot
I'll
of
just
fun
sit
to
on
do.
your wheel the whole time, and then I'll just pip you at the end.
That would actually.
I think you have a hard time if he had all of his TT stuff on.
This is the
I
only
don't
problem
know.
with being on my wheel is Josh hates this too. And Kit, who's listening to this, has a long history of this. Is I am a really bad draft. And it's not because I'm that skinny of a person. It's my dimensions don't work well in the wind if you're behind me.
You know
Because
what?
I have like a 28-inch waist.
Totally used to it. You know why?
And I'm knock-kneed.
I don't know why, but whenever we go on long, like difficult rides, I
Yeah.
always seem to be sitting on Chris Handel's wheel.
Oh, Handel's a terrible draft.
There's
yeah,
no
he's
draft
an
there.
There's
absolutely
no
terrible
draft.
draft.
So,
yeah,
I don't know what it is. I look up, I'm like, damn it, why are you
Yeah.
always in front of me?
He's only putting out like 10 more watts than you, and you're right behind me. Like, this makes no sense.
That's like the real secret of cycling in a group is like how do I
who's
weasel
the
my
worst
way?
draft? Yeah.
How do I weasel my way onto the draft behind like whoever the best draft
Easiest
is?
draft.
I got to go back and look at all of my because I always have a camera back there, always.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to just find out who's
on you.
sitting behind me the most because
It's-
I provide a
it's
wonderful
That'd be
draft.
it.
It's probably me.
That'd be a funny ratio on the team to find out like who's the best to worst draft.
I'm a pretty good draft if it's flat or downhill.
Being on those TT bikes, you really get slippery. So I don't think you're as good of a draft.
T-bikes, you do get very, very
Yep.
slippery in those. Yeah.
Hey guys, we're gonna switch it up. We usually will go right into the back pedal and a bunch of other stuff and enjoy
We
a
already did the
topic.
back pedal there. There we go. That counts.
That was an intro. We're gonna call that an intro. We're gonna change it up. We're gonna do the topic first and let people get right to the meat and potatoes of this thing. And this week we're gonna talk about examining our habits. Happy 2023.
Yes.
New year, new format, new habits.
New habits.
Oh yeah,
Try
there you go.
something
There we go.
This is a new habit for the podcast. so
We're going to
that's
be
good.
the not fun podcast. We're going to talk about stern habits that you need to develop. None of this wishy-washy resolution. What do you want to do in 2023? Nobody cares. We're going to talk about habits.
I don't know about you, but for me, like trying to create new habits is always better than resolutions because if
Yeah,
you create a
absolutely.
resolution, you're just almost setting yourself up to fail because they're so unattainable for the most part. So if you force yourself to start creating more new habits, and this is stuff we've talked about before, that's something that I think is more successful. We've got a guest that just walked into
She has to be on microphone.
Our expert just walked in.
We're going to press
We
pause.
brought in an expert.
Brandy, say hi to
Oh,
everybody.
say hello to everybody.
Say hi.
Hello, this is Lance Romance's wife.
I'm now Lance frigging Hepler.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lance.
This is true.
Wow.
I thought he was
You're-
Brandy's husband.
This
Is
is
what I thought he was.
Mrs. Frigging has walked into the room
That's
here.
what my friends call me.
It's
How did you know?
Mrs. Frigging.
Mr. Brandy Hepler over here.
Everybody from the internet looking good today.
Oh, how about that?
What are y'all drinking
Matt
today?
didn't even say
That's
that
so much
today.
better than Matt's. I think Matt should change his to that.
What are y'all drinking today? Oh, I see some chocolate milk.
This is
I see
what
some
your husband should be drinking as an energy drink
tropical
instead of
Cocoa
Monster.
Ghosts, Really? Well, he's
Did you know that he drinks Monster? Does he hide that from you?
no.
Okay, I was wondering if he's
Who do
actually
you think
tried to
buys
hide
it?
that.
Who do you think his supplier is?
Yes. She takes care
She's
of
your
me.
enabler.
Right.
Actually,
She is
Cassie
my-
buys these
my
for me too.
enabler.
Good to see you, Brandy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. Back to this. Lance, do you need to step out for a
I
minute?
don't know.
Are you
Do
in
I
trouble?
need to step
I
out?
was just driving by.
Okay.
Just drive by.
Am I in
I
trouble?
love you, honey. Am I in trouble again?
That was Lance's eyes even when she walked in. Was like, am I in trouble?
Well, okay, what did I forget? I definitely forgot something.
Like, you have an appointment right now? It's like right now.
Right now.
Well, anyway, there's something about a new year that is a little bit, nice because you can get to that point where you like, oh, geez, I'm doing all these things. I want to accomplish all this stuff, and it's just not. And this is just a good way where everybody's already kind of in that mindset. So you've got people around you rallying. It's just a really good time to sit back and examine your habits. So I think that. There's definitely a right way and a wrong way to do that, but the fact that you want to do it, maybe this is something that can help you. And I've got a list of 7 different things that we're going to run through here. Nice. And I wanted to get your guys' perspective, and just for those listening out there, we have not run through this all ahead of time, so this is going to be a little
doing
bit
it cold.
shoot for the hip. And I'm really
Cold
curious.
open.
Hot seat.
I'm really
Yep.
curious to
Hot
see
seat.
where these guys come from because you've got 3 guys sitting right in front of me.
All separated by about a decade each. Almost, actually.
Pretty close.
Actually, it is almost ballpark, yeah.
But you guys are very successful in everything that you do. You know, you've got you're retired, Lance.
I'm the most successful person I know.
You're a very
I am the most humble person
You're
I know.
also the most successful person I know.
You are
the most
also,
humble.
You're also the best at retiring that I've met so far. Like
yeah,
if Phil
by
Guyman's
far.
the worst at retiring, you're the other
I'm
side
the
of the
best.
spectrum,
You're
and
the
you're
best.
pretty good at it. So.
Best of the best.
Across the table, you've got Matt LeGrand over here. Who's got a fantastic family. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a successful.
They don't just give YouTube channels to anyone.
International.
You get some subscribers.
Matt's the only international famous one here. Well, no, Lance does have like a couple people in
does have-
Iceland, I think, who
he has a
like him. But
following.
I'm the only one at the table with an autographed picture request.
this is very true.
I don't know. Have you ever
Very
asked? Has somebody ever asked you to sign something?
Every day. Every day.
Dang it.
But that's,
I met this guy named David when we were, in Augusta, and
He knows all
Yeah.
of you guys, and he knows
And
all
he
of
knew
your
Matt.
families.
Yeah.
He knows all about you guys.
yeah.
but he's
also
got a
Matt's brother,
successful
but-
coding career, and he's got a fantastic track record as an athlete. And then you've got Evan Price over here, who's like
Bottom of the barrel.
Where do we
of
even
those
start,
three
dude?
options? And that's
Also-
not retired.
You've got like not a ton of hobbies, not a bunch of stuff, but you've got a couple things. Like you've got your wife and your new
focus.
formulated family that you're very enthusiastic about. Your professional career, you're like killing it. I mean, you've made such a name for yourself at 31 years old. I mean, that's pretty nuts.
That is how
And
old I
then
actually
always
am.
forget how old you are.
Yeah, I know.
and then you've got this pro triathlete career, and you do all of that extremely well. So obviously, you guys have had some habits that have helped you get to these stations, and I'd like to be able to talk about those. So the first thing is patience. How are you patient? How do you keep from wanting that constant instant gratification? How is it that you guys are able to sit back and just let time go by to get to where you want to be?
Ooh, that's the best one on this list, in my opinion. I haven't even seen the other 7. I mean, I think about like New Year's goal. Like, I love this time of year personally because I love going to the gym. The gym is so well. When I say the gym, quote unquote, I mean go to the pool. I walk through the gym to get to the pool.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say, yeah.
But it's so dead in December that I do love seeing that shift in January. Where I know people always come like, oh, these are just the the New Year's resolution or
2
something.
weeks
Like, yeah,
from now
but
will
like
be- yeah.
if you got 100 of those people, 4 of them might stick with that and have actually, 10 years down the road be somebody that's doing bike racing or, lifting consistently and all that stuff. So it's always exciting to watch that. But it is, this is always what I say in PT too, is like, if your goal that first week of 2023 was like, I'm going to the gym all 7 days this week, like that is not displaying patience. Like patience is being like 2 to 3 times this week would be a good initial start.
Agree and disagree. Okay, so I listened to
you like the full gas approach just right off the bat?
No. But I like the habit forming approach. Go to the gym.
Okay.
Go to the gym. So there was this guy, and I don't remember where I saw
But
this.
you
and he
got
was
to be
talking about
patient with your load.
yes.
You know, like
Oh, 100%.
the actual load of training.
There was this guy, and his goal was to go to the gym every day
for 365 days.
Guess how long he was at the gym for? I don't know, the first couple months. His goal was
15 minutes.
5 minutes.
That's awesome.
There
you go.
And it was just like, and it was like, he drove to the gym. He went in there. He could barely have time to like warm up, and then he cut himself off, and he was like, "Go home." And it was just like, boom, habit forming. He lost something like 200 pounds. He was one of these guys.
Hey, good. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I mean, it's again, probably when you're that big, like going to the gym and just walking there and
getting
out of the house at
that point is going to be
So yes and no. I think your point of being patient is spot on, right? Where it's like that's what that guy was showing. Really, a lot more patience than I've seen in really anyone, right? Where it's like, I'm only going to do 5 minutes. I'm cutting myself off.
I bet he didn't get injured that entire process either, did he?
I have no idea.
If he was that patient early on, I bet he did a great job of building his base.
It's interesting to me who also, it's not really like a New Year's goal or anything like that, but I wish I went to the gym more to like lift, because I go to the pool, go through the gym, like
you're
go
already
through
there,
the gym,
yeah.
the pool, and I have kids that go to the pool, so
I'm lucky that I
I am
work in a
already
gym.
there.
I mean, just think about it. If you stopped for like 7 minutes and just did a quick
Yeah.
hit routine or something like that, how much that adds up over time.
My lifting routine once a week is obviously at work. I'm very lucky. I have a very accessible gym that I'm there 10 hours a day for a portion. But my lifting routine takes between 15 and 18 minutes once a week.
Very similar to what
And
my
it's very
routine
heavy
takes.
4x4.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Mine's not heavy at all, and I'm like, I can do 15 minutes, and I can be sore enough, like little, like just like what you want to be when the next day when you're like, I'm a little bit sore, but it's all in like thick muscles. It's not like tendons or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's perfect. So it's not a matter of like the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
15. There's always 15 minutes in your day to do something
is.
like that,
There is.
and it helps
Yes.
that I'm right there by the pool. So
That does help.
maybe it should be a New Year's goal. I don't know.
Just
How about
force
you,
yourself
Hep?
in the pool.
Well, I would take a different approach to this. I mean, training is all about patience. You do say that,
Yeah.
but the concept of
Lance is
delayed
not patient.
no. Well, that's what I'm just going to say. The concept of delayed gratification has been a cornerstone of my entire adult life. And most of it was based around, okay, what am I going to have to do now so that I can have gratification in the future? Did I expect that my life would turn into what it is right now? I hate to say this. My life rocks right now. It has been
It is tough.
fantastic.
It's tough to say that.
It
It's
seems
tough
pretty
to
neat.
say that.
It seems pretty nice.
I've had 3 really crappy things that happened this last year. But regardless of that, I mean, the fact that my time is my own, I have a relative good amount of income coming in without me having to physically do work. I can travel. I'm fit enough that I can ride where I want to. You know,
All those STDs are clearing up.
I feel it doesn't.
Is
burn.
your wife still here? Did she hear that part?
It's true. So, I mean, the fact that, I worked 20 years doing 60-hour weeks and managing 30 staff members, at the largest point, just hoping that I would get to the point where I can do what I'm doing right now. And my whole concept beginning that was, okay, you do the work now, you buckle down, you try to figure out what a good exit strategy or something is going to happen in the future. And
That was interesting for you because your back was hurting and you needed to retire early.
correct.
Which is like this blessing in disguise.
Yes, but I had already set my life up well enough to the
Yes.
point that
Right.
when
Yeah,
my
the timing worked out nicely.
Yes.
there.
But
yeah.
had your back been fine, do you think you'd still be working right now?
I probably would still be working.
Which think about
you
think
sure?
about all the trips
Yeah.
you would have missed.
Would you?
Yes.
I mean,
you would
thousands of biking mileage.
You would have hired
Your health-
somebody to do more of the day-to-day management, though. At some point, wouldn't you have?
I'm gonna throw out some numbers, and it's gonna sound like I'm completely sounding like an asshat.
Yeah.
like an ice cream sandwich, but
Ice cream sandwich.
but when you're making $1 million a year, you want to make 2 million.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you want to see what I can do to make 10 million a year.
Yeah.
And what's it going to take for me to make 20 million a year?
Yeah.
How do I grow? How do I build? How do I go? And so that was the trajectory of what that I was on.
I think they call it the rat race, don't they?
Yes, it's like, okay, I've grown to this point. Now what can I do to take the next step? How do I expand from here? And when my back went out, I realized I had enough.
Yeah.
I am not super wealthy, but I am comfortable.
Right.
Because I'm at a point where my investments are fueling my life,
Right.
and I'm not losing the
I think
capital.
There's a great song about being buried with your money. So I think that you probably, luckily, your back made you realize that, like, hey,
Yeah.
you can live a pretty darn awesome
Yeah.
life
And
and stop now.
I think it's important for people, maybe they're listening to this, to think like, okay, what's the number where I just like stop? And
Right.
decide it, and like if you need to, write it down, put it in your pocket, and be like, and I'm good here.
Yeah.
Like, but then if you hit that, recognize like you really should think about walking away.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to be like, and 20 million, and
Yeah.
if you're at 20, like it'd be great to hit 40.
Yeah.
And you really can. It's just a matter of being like, there's a great time to say like, look, there's this number that I said I'd be good at, and I think I would be good at that. Like, that number should be big, and maybe it should be a little bit scary, but I think it's like one of those things where take it, put it in your pocket, because you'll get there eventually, and it's nice
Just
to
remember,
walk away.
time is finite.
Yep.
And you only get so much of that. And to be able to enjoy that and know what truly makes you happy,
Yeah.
that's what Lance is doing.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So
I'm very fortunate. It doesn't hurt the fact that my kids were all grown and gone. I don't have anybody at home I'm looking after at the moment.
Yeah.
Although they all still need help from me.
I was going to say, didn't they all just come back for New Year's Eve and everybody
But,
was in
dude,
the house?
We had a blast on New Year's Eve because
Yeah,
my
I
kids
bet.
are all adults. It was a good time. Anyway, we'll get to that.
all right. Well, so before we get deeper into this, let's just do this real quick. We need to when we're thinking about like what it is that we want to change about ourselves and how we want to examine our habits, we need to think about what we want to be and start to make real choices on how to get there. That's kind of like the starting point that you need to understand. Like you just can't haphazardly go around, just saying, doing all these random things. I mean, take an honest look at you, what you want and what you want to change. And then you need to start doing certain things and stop doing others. And that's where we need to start integrating all of these different topics that we're going to talk about. So we need to think about what we need to start doing, and we need to think about what we need to stop doing, and then we can start taking steps towards that. So patience is probably a very, very good place to start. Would you all agree?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Good. How does this relate to cycling? Or I mean, this can be overlaid
it's like
on everything.
It's like one of the most important things in cycling. I would say,
this is going to transcend your entire life, so you can stop and think about that too. But like, let's talk about things that are relevant to this podcast, like cycling and triathlon, and just being a good athlete. So just think about these things. Like, you're not going to go out and increase your FTP by 50 points in the next week. I mean, you're probably not even going to do that this year. Most cases, that's just not the case. But when you start to think about this in smaller, more palatable chunks and thinking about the little things that you need to do to get there, and then being patient with that and thinking about the things that you need to start doing and the things that you need to stop doing, that's where it all starts to come together. Because you know what? I've come to learn, time goes by really fast.
It does.
Very fast. And before you know it, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, it's been 5 years. And then you think about all of the stuff that you accomplished in that time. Just think about how much more you could have had if you've been a little bit more focused, or if you had certain goal or habits that were changed. So anyway, all right. So the next one, creating a routine. What is that like for you guys? Do you guys struggle with that? Is that something that you're really good at? I'm looking at the three of you, and I'm thinking that that's not really a problem for you because you guys have busy lives. And if you don't have a routine, then it's going to be a problem for you.
I think shifts in Lance could probably speak to this. I think shifts in routine are hard. Keeping a routine. The metaphor I try to use for people I coach when we have to have the off-season conversation is getting momentum going is very hard. Like starting any process is incredibly difficult. So you can take time off, but you do understand that the slower that stone starts to roll, once it's stopped and we've lost a lot of fitness, yes, getting that rolling is very hard.
I like that idea from a coaching perspective of like telling an athlete,
staying
like,
fit's easy.
Stick in your routine when you're taking a break, but like stay to your routine, but just adjust the workout itself and the load, right?
That's the best advice I've heard was like, hey, if your normal ride was 2 hours with some crazy intervals in it, go ride 45 minutes easy, just at the same time you usually would. Because as soon as you break that habit, I mean, it's like the same idea. Harder. I mean, could you imagine talking to a smoker who's like 2 years not smoking, and you're like, hey, let's take an off season from quitting smoking here. Just go ahead, like for 2-3 weeks. Just go ahead and lightly start smoking again.
Do it,
How I would love to do a case study on how does that go? Like, is that so?
Or people who struggle with alcoholism. You take you take.
Yeah, they
one
don't take
sip.
2 weeks off.
No, you can take one sip and be down a rabbit hole for a month and a half.
Right. Yeah,
and so
exactly.
That's you can't.
At that point, it's more like breaking the routine, right?
Yes.
Where
it's like the exact inverse of it, which I think
sometimes it's like the environment too. It's like
exactly,
Like
you have to create that environment. Though this is what I've started to realize is environment and like development of routine is a real easy excuse for some people where they're like, well, I just don't have the time or the availability for that. And Jake already mentioned, every single human being is 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I really, as a medical provider, I've gotten very tired of that time excuse because I meet people every single day that blow my mind. I mean, I coach people that blow my mind where I'm like, you got 2 kids, you're in the depth of your career, and you want to qualify for the Boston Marathon. This was Lance at one point in his life. It's like everybody has time. Yep. Now, that does not mean that everybody has the time to ride a bike for UAE. That's not what that means. You do not have 30 hours in your week, but you absolutely have the time to develop a routine. And if you don't think you have time to develop a routine, then unfortunately nobody's really going to want to hear you complain anymore because that's just like...
But I love complaining.
I know. And it's funny because the people who don't want to develop their routines are the ones who really love to complain about not having a routine.
It's 15 minutes of complaining. That's right. There's my 15 minutes.
You just spent enough time where you could have lifted a heavy thing 4x4 in the time you told me that you don't.
People, during the thick of my career, when I was working 60 hours a week, I had 3 kids at home, busy marriage, busy church life, still also training for Ironman or the Boston Marathon. And people would ask me, how do you find the time to do that? I would get asked that a lot. How do you find the time to do everything you're doing? And my response was, you waste way more time than you think you do.
Well, and don't you think people like find time to do what they want to do?
Yeah.
Like,
If you're always going to
make it. Yeah.
you're
If
like,
I want to
oh.
watch TV for 3 hours a night, you find time
Or
to watch
if there's a show that you're really into, you find the time and you do
find
it.
the time to
or,
watch that show.
Or if
Right.
it's like, those toilets haven't been cleaned in a while. Like,
And that's even the
like,
thing
you find,
that
I got to go work out. I can't do that.
That's even the thing that I know. I was having this conversation with some guys that are in their 30s who are pros, and two of them actually have kids now. And we talked about how the really built-in excuse for the quote-unquote part-time pro triathlete is I can't recover and I can't sleep enough. And we're like, that's BS. That decompression time you have at the end of the evening, put the phone away, go to sleep right now. Like, to compete at this level, you need 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
You cannot compete as a professional athlete off
Habits.
6. Yes.
Habits. Things
Exactly.
that you say yes to means that you're saying no to something else.
Vitamin N from Eliud Kipchoge. There you go. the ability to say no and know that it's if at the end of the day you're like, hey, I just don't want to be as fast on the bike maybe as I was when I was younger. I don't want to do this. But if that is actually your goal, then you need to find in your routine that recovery and that training needs to happen. And it has to happen through a routine.
Yeah. Routines themselves can be very difficult to establish. I think you need to understand and know where your sweet spot is. Like, I know that I am super productive in the mornings, and as the day goes on, it starts to kind of fade a little bit more. And I find that I will end up putting off, because I'm fall guilty to the whole big P word, that procrastination. And I'll put it at the end of the day. Like, I shouldn't be doing like my quality workouts on the bike at the end of the day. I know that, like, when I get up and I'll do a ride at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'll get that done in an hour and a half or 2 hours, I get such a high off of that, and I do
That's
so
amazing
well
that you can nail a hard bike workout at 5 a.m. I can't do that
that's
anymore.
impressive.
I cannot. I'd rather do it at 10 p.m. for me. Yeah.
That first 5 minutes is like, and then 10 minutes, you're like, oh, that's good. And then like 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, I feel great right now, and I can go out and crush.
It's probably after you've established that habit that you start to feel better.
Yeah, your body just clicks into that.
That's good.
But
that
if I
habit.
save that same workout and all of a sudden I've already had a full busy day and I'm putting myself
brain
on the
tank,
trainer at like 7 or 7:30 at night, it's just not the same quality.
Yeah.
It's just not. So
And that's it, because you will talk to, if you take 10 really good endurance athletes,
Yeah.
it's funny how all of them do seem to have like, when will you put your hardest workouts?
Yeah.
You get 10 different answers sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know some people that like, they just love, like, if they work from home, they love that like noon.
Yeah.
They'll just
Yeah.
like crush it at noon.
that's good too. I mean,
Yeah.
in an ideal world,
I
do I
definitely
want
do
to be
not
up
do
at
that
5
well.
o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning? No, I don't. I'd rather be sleeping, and I would rather sleep in and have a breakfast and then get up and do a hard workout at like 9 o'clock in the morning. But my schedule just
Yeah, I was
doesn't
gonna say,
permit
it's
that.
not gonna
So,
allow that, yeah.
but just understand where you can own your routine. That's a big thing, and then tackle the big things first. Get those things out of the way. Like what's most important to you, get it done first. Don't wait. Make your big.
It's breakfast for me.
That's the biggest and most important
Dude, I'll
thing.
tell you what, my most important things throughout the day is make sure I eat a lot. Like, the training just happens for me at that point. Like, at this point, it's just,
Pop-Tarts and peanut butter.
dude, this is
Quality.
just getting food in. 2023, one of my big habit changes was like eat frequently throughout the day. I just have food sitting in my car, just like massive amounts of food. I have 2 of these in there.
That's awesome.
I have cases
got
of
through one.
Monster in my car.
I know you do. I know, yeah.
All right. So to close out the routine thing, life without design is erratic. Just remember that.
Yeah.
So, all right, focus on the little things. Focus on the little things. And by that,
I like that.
don't think big picture. Don't think about
Yeah.
that goal that you're trying to accomplish 6 months, 3 months, or a year from now, because that's a big thing. Focus on the little things, because those little things add up quickly. We've already kind of alluded to this a little bit, but these things are not small. They should not be taken with a grain of salt. Those things really, truly matter. If you do enough of those in a row, that's where you're going to start to get your results from.
Yeah. And that's a de-stressor as well. The thing I see with like kids I coach and stuff is they're like literally on the starting line crying, right? Or like getting ready for their race and they're crying because they're so overwhelmed by.
I said I was going to go 1930, and I'm not sure if I can right
it's
now.
Like state meet, big crowds, blah, blah, blah. And you can just be like, what's the one thing you have to do right now? Put your shoes on. What's the second thing you have to do? Do your strides. Like, don't think.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't overthink the big things. Do one small thing in the step in the right direction, and you'll get there. And when you get in the race, you're fine, right? You know, like you guys all know how that goes, but like they don't. They're overwhelmed by the everything.
I think it was a Crowe quote.
Yeah.
When he was talking about, he did some documentary way back when, I think with a car company, but he had a quote in there that was way exceeded a car commercial. And it was, but he talked about the start gun freed him. Yeah. Which I loved it, and me being somebody who the start of swims is a little bit more terrifying for me than it is for like Sam Laidlow, who gets to go off the front and dominate the race. Crowe gets to catch that front group. So I started playing that mantra in my head of like I was excited for the little thing of that. Right after that start, I was like, just get on somebody's feet. And it was a little thing. Instead of thinking the big idea of, holy crap, I got to swim 2K at like
one little thing,
120 and change pace, and I've got to just
think about that.
Dude, I just got to kill myself on the swim. No, it was like, think about that little first 5 seconds. That little first 5 seconds.
Lance, how does this change for you? You've kind of lost the whole like going out and conquering the world with respect to like the business world.
No, you get to go see the world now.
Cycling, is this something? Does this kind of like fall on deaf ears with you because you get to do whatever where's my button at? Ice cream scoop that you want. Whatever you want. I mean, you could literally wake up and read a newspaper and eat some pancakes and then go do. It's just like it's all over the place. But do you find that you maybe lose a little focus because of that, or do you find that?
Yeah, you're right on. I mean, 10 a.m. is the perfect time for me to start my workout or my ride because I wake up at 7. I watch the Today Show. Because I hang out.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
I wash a few rocks.
I read the paper. I check out my other stuff. I make sure my clothes are warm.
Paper. That's actually a life goal of mine. Is as soon as I retire, I'm going to get the paper again. I hope that's still a thing.
I read it on my phone now. I actually stopped.
Oh darn!
I'm gone too much. I leave for like a month and I come back and
it's too much.
Plus, papers aren't going to exist by the time you retire.
I hope they're still there because I will be the one person still buying a Colombian.
So yeah, my whole my routine changed quite a bit. I got to make my own schedule and do what I want pretty much every day. I still have meetings, I still have responsibilities, but it's 5 or 6 hours a week of meetings and responsibilities. It's not.
Do you find
50.
that it's easier or more difficult for things to go sideways with your training?
Oh, it's way easier to go sideways.
Because all of a sudden you're like, you get a wild hair up your butt to go jump in the van for a month. You can do that.
A little bit loose.
And or if you want to go on a cruise or do all these fun things, but that really is going to wreak havoc with that daily routine of training and doing things consistently.
That first year that you retired, so that first year, did you have, we talk about, especially in my field right now, there's a lot of great research, a lot of good talks around the dopamine threshold for everybody. And when we're talking about highly successful people, when their routine has to change, did you notice any, outside of obviously the immediate happiness of being like, wow, I don't have to like wake up at the absolute butt crack of dawn anymore, but like, did you have any even slight depression during that time period, or did you immediately try to fill it with like, I'm just going to train more, or like, I'm just going to,
no,
we're hopping in the car and going like way everywhere now.
It was pure joy.
Really? See, this is my worry. That makes me feel so much better because I'm so worried. I'm so worried when my career's done. I'm going to have this like lost feeling all of a sudden, be like, oh my God, what do I do right now?
Most people struggle with that. I had something that I could just dive right back into.
Yeah.
I gave up dentistry and running all those businesses and dove right into cycling full time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So doing this,
so you just got to make that a
part of
seamless.
This. Yes.
That has to be a real like seamless transition.
I had a hobby that could take over my life, and I let it.
Yeah, for sure.
That was.
So you met that dopamine threshold just in a different way, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
But to answer Jake's question, there's hundreds of days where I've planned to ride at 10 a.m. and I finally threw my leg over the bike at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Because I just screwed off the entire rest of the day because I had nothing else to do. There was like no pressure. And so the routine kind of, by not having the routine, it derailed the whole day, if that makes sense.
It does, 100%. Yep. So now that you've fully been engrossed by cycling, how come you haven't signed with Jumbo Visma yet?
Because I'm a freakless fat boy.
Next week.
Because unfortunately, genetics matter more than anybody wants to say in endurance sports.
I'm a 52-year-old broken man.
But it's call's coming. I mean,
I'm just waiting.
Just wait by that phone.
Wow hasn't responded to that direct message yet, has he?
Getting back to the small things, they are not small. They add up. They mean something, and that's if you're focusing on that, that's going to help you make your habits much more successful. Mm-hmm. Assemble your life action by action. think about putting one foot in front of the other. You guys already kind of talked about that, and that's good. Concentrate. You have to concentrate on those things. That's probably in this day and age, that's probably one of the more difficult things for people to do because there's so much that life can throw at you.
The power of now, quote unquote. I just watched a really good video on that.
Oh, really?
It was a guy who did a TED talk. He was talking about the actual neurophysiology behind that. How he was saying the one thing that like connects all great endurance athletes. The guy was an endurance athlete.
Yeah.
He was talking about it's the ability to very much focus on a conscious present moment.
Concentrating is so important, and that goes right back into that question of saying, if you're saying yes to one thing, that means you're saying no to something else. Ask yourself that question, like, is what I'm doing right now helping me achieve my better habits or what I'm setting out to do or my big goal, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, becoming a triathlete or getting signed by Jumbo Visma or overtaking DC Rainmaker, whatever it might be. So
dang you, Rainmaker.
But
dang it.
He does the little things pretty good.
He does a good job. He does a hell of a job.
Concentrate and ask yourself that question because you know what? It's all too often that people find themselves on their phone scrolling and scrolling and scrolling or like
or
binge
even
watching.
Like email comes in.
Yeah.
Text message comes in. You know, it's all these things like that. Like there's a lot of outlets or inlets into our lives to poke in and be like, I need this answered right now. Or whatever it is. It's
been
bad.
Trying that for a while to try and like kind of focus away from that. And people think I'm a
Ice cream sandwich.
hole because I don't get back to them in a decent amount of time. It's because I'm trying to concentrate on getting certain things done.
Yeah.
If I don't do that, and if I answer every direct message, text message, email, phone call,
Facebook direct message,
everywhere. I don't get anything done. At the end of the day, I'm like, crap, I've got this massive to-do list. Didn't happen, but I did, I guess, kind of service all these like micro things that needed to get done. But gosh, that's hard. That's really hard. So asking yourself that question.
I think connectivity too has had some negative effect on people who are in jobs, careers, and anything like that are question answerers. And I realize this because at the end of the day, my entire job is just trying to answer questions. That's literally all I do all day. Is attempt to answer questions. And I realize that people always mean well, and I love my job and what I do, but me and Cassie have always talked about this. I've actually started, so two things I do is there's a certain time of evening where I put the phone entirely away. And now actually when I'm on the trainer, unless I know it's a very easy ride and I'm able to catch up on everything, I'll actually put the phone away. And it was for that same reason I wanted to concentrate on what I was doing because I started to realize that was inducing some stress for me because, it was every 5 minutes I got some coaching text or something coming in with a million questions in there and, the world's ending and there's a crisis and that. And I don't think that people realize, well, I hope some people do, when you're, especially in the medical field to some extent, when you put a crisis onto somebody else, that's what they're there for. They're there to help you, but think in your head for a second that imagine yourself in that role and imagine if 30 people did that to you in one day and what that would do to your psyche. There's a reason we got a lot of depression in the medical field, and that is because you cannot take on 30 medical crises of somebody appropriately. Now, that means that somebody can deal with that, but that needs to be in a scheduled time period. Saturday at 6 a.m. is not the time to send your doctor, PT, or medical health professional an absolute crisis text or email. That is just not a great time to do it.
There are certain things that I'm seeing with technology where you can like schedule when your email is going to get sent out.
Wow, that's a great idea.
And that's a fantastic idea because like you might
thank you, Apple, if that's
want to get something off your chest,
but
send that at a decent time. And if you could do the same thing with like a direct message,
and like
99.9%
of the people I work with all respect that, so I get that. But I also had to take myself out of a certain population to do that. I had to be entirely with endurance sports athletes that all understand that like, my crisis at 6 a.m. is not something that this person should be dealing with right now.
That's the difficult part about being a coach is because you're going to have a lot of personalities that want to have access to you at all times. And they don't understand that like, hey, I need to have normal working hours because I've got other things in life that I need to get done. And that's kind of a struggle that I've had in certain respects as well. And you want to help everybody. Like that's your nature. Like that's why you coach people because you want to help them.
Well, and also you and me, unfortunately, during 2020, both doing similar things. And that I think that was just a high anxiety time period for people and everybody's schedule was wacky. So it's like all of a sudden it's 12:30 past midnight and I wake up and I have like 4 texts from that time period. I'm like, who on God's green earth was up sending texts at this time?
Unless it's like an emergency, do you guys ever text people past a certain time or before a certain time?
No.
Unless I have a few people I'm okay with doing that too because there's an understanding. There's a mutual understanding.
I know you wake up early, so I don't mind sending you a message at like 7 a.m.
That's fine.
But this
Yeah, it's
group, I'm
different.
always like, it's pretty early for a podcast
I would
message.
send you guys a 2 a.m. text as a joke. That's it's about who you're. It's the level of professionalism of the response.
Sure.
To me, is
I don't really.
If you expect a high professionalism answer and questions answered, that needs to be during work hours.
Yes.
Is when you send that. And if
That
you don't
makes
send it
sense.
during work hours, you can expect that should take a while to respond to.
Yeah,
So,
I just generally don't text people after 9 at night. And
Yeah.
I try
That's
and
been
wait
my
until
cutoff.
after 8 o'clock in the morning. Like with you guys, I don't care what you guys can text me anytime you want.
Yeah. But also, nobody here is going to do. Like, I think I've even waited for on like if I know it's like an update on a part or something, I'll even wait for Jay till like Friday at noon or whatever, or like Monday at noon, because I know it like. At some like if I text Jake that at 5:30 a.m. at some point, I was like, he's not going to know the answer to this, and this is a pointless thing for me to send.
And we're
him right
always
now.
trying to put our kids to bed at like 8:30, and so usually I do get text messages at like 8:30, 9:30, that time frame that I just don't see until like the next day, and I always feel a little like twinge of guilt, and I kind of let it go because I'm like, 8:30, man.
Well, I think most people would expect that that's going to be an answer the next day, and if they don't,
I think that's fine.
problem.
No one cares, right? Like it's just a matter of
Here's something that's coming for you soon, Matt.
Yeah.
My kids are starting to put me to bed between 9:30 and 10 o'clock at
I know,
night.
right? I know.
My wife has got me convinced to go to bed earlier, and I've been doing a better job of that. And it's funny that almost all of my kids go to bed after we do know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be very long for us.
They're
because
still,
I get
they're still
so
going to bed at a pretty
tired.
good time. That's good.
I'm
Especially
I'm
from the
so
high
tired.
school crew, way later these days.
Yeah.
Some of the kids I know.
It's coming.
You stay up later than all of us.
Coming. I go to bed about 10.
Yeah. I'm
between 10 and 11.
Last
usually.
night I was trying to put the kids to bed and I was
Yeah.
falling asleep. Like that was probably 8:39.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
I'm done.
All right, here's the next one. Don't always be getting ready to begin. Don't procrastinate.
Ooh.
So
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So-
I had to process.
so I think this is
I'm dumb.
interesting.
I had to process that.
because there's a lot of that I think happened last week, right? With people and it's like get ready for New Year's first because we're gonna do that, but not right now. Not right now.
That was my favorite joke. When
Like, I know.
anytime I heard
Dessert
anybody say something,
tonight.
I was like, "Tomorrow's fine." They're like, well, it's the 26th tomorrow. I'm like, well, yeah. It's like also that's the same day as the first.
Yeah,
It's an obnoxious response.
but
I
I'm
will
also
admit, but yeah.
just as guilty as anyone else of being like, okay, like for my like not drinking, I'm taking the month of January off just in case you guys care.
Yeah.
But I was not going to
care
start
deeply,
on
Matt.
New Year's Eve.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
So I find myself guilty of this.
I think most of these are as long as you have a genuine routine and plan coming up and not just a hope, not just like, oh, I'm going to hope on January 1st, I'm going to do this. If you have a genuine routine and plan and it just makes sense for it to start on January 1st, I'm always fine with
that's,
this. Like
I think that's fine. I think the point is like,
it makes sense.
There's no real
But if you're
reason to
telling me
wait.
something in November and you're like, I'm going to start that on January 1st, be like, yeah, I know you're
Might
not.
as well.
It's like, but a 5% chance of that
And it
happening.
doesn't have to. You should be able to listen to those words and apply that to any time, any day of the year.
Yes.
So for me, like the big thing is like Matt's very consistent about it. I'm very jealous and envious, and I respect the fact that you do a YouTube video every single
my
freaking
routine,
week.
though.
That's your
It's my
routine.
routine.
There you go. It's
Yeah.
in the
I
routine.
have been talking about getting into that routine. I'm like, and I
But
told
it's
myself in the
tough.
back of my
It's a
head, I'm
hard
like,
routine.
you're not going to do once a week. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to get 52 of these things out. You're not even going to do 40 because you said before you're going to do 40. Let's just do,
Once
I
every
don't
2
know,
weeks.
once a month at
Once
least.
a month would be cool.
But then
did
you got to plan the week it's going to happen.
one video last year. Lance and I recorded stuff, but I only got one video edited and out. And that's not counting the live stream thing that we did.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And I'm always doing I'm researching, I'm playing with, I'm experimenting,
Yeah.
I'm checking, like editing stuff, playing with it. I'm getting gear. I've got all the things. I got all the tools. And I'm always getting ready to begin. But you know what? Not beginning.
Yeah.
And a big part of that was that I'm not going to call it a time suck, but when I come down to the lab where we're at right now, that is
there's-
all consuming.
Oh, yeah.
And you get here and then, like I said, 15 people will come in and everybody wants to talk to you, and I'm perfectly guilty
And you
for
gotta-
engaging
and you
in
gotta
every
answer
single one of those
questions. You
conversations.
gotta answer questions,
And then
yeah.
the next thing you know, it's the end of the day, and I look over at Paul. I'm like, Paul, I didn't get anything done today.
Yeah.
Damn it! So
Well, imagine throughout the day how much time in your day you just answer questions.
Oh, yeah.
Because a question is something you can pre-plan for.
Yeah.
It's not like you can be like, all right, from 2 to 3 today, I'm going to answer questions. No, that's like,
You know what I found, and this is specific to videos, but it kind of applies to everything. The thing that I found interesting is that once a video has started,
yeah.
it's fine. I'm happy to, like, I'm very happy
Yes.
to work on it even until like 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's like the like getting everything set and ready, and I've got like the talking head, like what I want to say, and doing that part of the video where I talk to the camera and all that stuff. Then like once that's done, then it's like all the editing and stuff like that. It's like that is smooth sailing. So what I would say is, and this could apply to things besides video, but like getting something started. Once something is started, it's easy to return back to that thing and keep working on it.
Yeah.
So
I fully agree with that. My problem is just getting to that station. Like, I'm all about that too. It's like going on a ride. You're like, I got to do a 3-hour ride. But as soon as you get on the bike, that 3-hour ride felt like it was like 20 minutes. Not a big deal. But when you're thinking about that 3 hours, once you get out there and start doing it, it's fine. With the video, the same concept. My problem is just finding the time. And we've been making changes here, and I've been working from home on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Granted, we've had a lot of things that I've had to get done over the last couple of months, namely a new website that's still kind of putting out fires, and like there's a lot of work that goes into that. But once I do sit down to do a video, I absolutely love that. I have so much fun. The other problem is if I made the time and I'm doing that at home, and then all of a sudden family comes home, I need to be ever present with that. Because if I stay in the office or the den until 2:00 in the morning, then I didn't get a chance to interact with my kids. My wife's going to hate me, and my dog's like looking at me a little cross-eyed, little like, Dad, you suck. That's a reality
home
too.
life,
So.
you know?
Wait, your wife doesn't hate you?
I don't know what was wrong with what you just said.
Your wife should hate you, I'm pretty sure. I think that's like one of the rules.
I haven't talked to my kids in 10 years.
Your kids should hate you.
Lance, does it matter
my
for
dog
you?
does hate me.
Does it matter for you to procrastinate? Do you really care at the end of the day?
Yeah, I do.
Why? What's it affecting?
Because I don't feel a sense of fulfillment if I procrastinate.
But you got to do all the other fun little things that we all think about, like
dopamine.
But
walking around in the house in our tidy whities, eating Pop-Tarts.
Just drink a Monster and you'll feel better.
But feeling a sense of purpose in your life and a fulfillment in your life is huge.
Yeah.
So if you don't have purpose or fulfillment, you are going to be more stressed.
Yeah.
You're not going to sleep as well, and you won't feel as good
anxiety.
about yourself. Yeah, and more anxiety. Yes.
Interesting.
I make my kids write down like 5 things that they want to get done each day. And, and it's just like a start, right?
And they have a purpose.
Dude, I take so many things from randomly that you do parenting wise. Not to get cheesy, but I do. And like right now, I was like, man, I should probably do that.
Here's the thing. It's Christmas break. They have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And my oldest in particular, my oldest kid gets really cranky at the end of the day because he knows he didn't get anything done. And it's the exact same thing. It's just that like, and I mean, this is where I am too. Like I need to have that like feeling of accomplishment. Yeah. And most days, my wife will be like, how'd your day go? And I'm like, didn't get as much stuff done as I wanted to get done on my list or whatever. But like, same thing. It's just having that accomplishment of slicing something off the list, or I did this thing, or whatever it is.
Do you know what I've realized too? This is very biased and might be only because I have a large missing part of what you guys have, which is obviously children. But for me, I started to take away things that I thought I needed to do that day, and I started to feel way more accomplished. As in, like instead of me always having, I even use my Google Calendar's freaking hilarious. I have I used to have like 30 things planned in there, almost on like an hourly basis around work that I was going to get done. I get to the end of the day, look at that list and be like, I had 2 of those 8 things got done. And then I'd feel depressed, like significantly depressed.
Yeah,
Instead,
I do that all the time.
I started to literally expect less of myself, which sounds like the exact opposite of what we're doing right now. But I did to some extent. I was more patient. I realized that this thing does not need to get done until a couple months from now. And just
there's a lot of
things back.
Studies and research that say that you should never have more than like 5 things on your list of things to get done during the day.
Funny. That was usually my threshold. If there were 5 things in that Google Calendar, I'm like, something needs to get moved because it's not going to get done.
And you've always got to start with the first one, get it done, and get it out of the way, and make that be like productive.
And funny enough, for me, training, especially this last year, I can genuinely say I don't think there's been a day I had to motivate myself to get out the door to train. And the only reason for that was I am not talented at anything, but the only thing I'm really good at is if there's something that's in my schedule, it's going to get done. And triathlon all of a sudden just became my job. So for me, there's a reason I never missed a day of work until I had COVID. You know, this last year in my entire life was because I needed to be at work that day.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do anything stupendous. I'm like a solid B- at everything I do. But it's like I do a B- every single day.
Yeah,
so builds up a lot of B-.
B for be there.
B for be there.
Yep.
And then it was like an A- happened once a year and a lot of C+. And there you go. It just averaged out to that B. But it was every single day I realized that was the purpose. It was like, okay, the training just happens because it's part of my job at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. Not that I'm saying anybody should make it part of their job, but that's like if you deem it that way in your brain, it helps.
So going back to the procrastination point here, what are the things that you guys do? What are some pro tips that you can throw out there for people to get past that, to stop procrastinating, to stop having that be something that really grinds them down? How do you make those first steps? How do you take those first real steps?
I procrastinate, and it drives me crazy.
Get a buddy
People
to
should not listen to what I say.
Get a buddy to literally. So Josh sometimes will be this for me because
Oh,
Josh
yeah,
is the
he's good.
most
Yep.
of everything I'm saying right now. Take what I do, and Josh is the nth degree of that, and much better. He will.
good.
So there's like if I'm even a little bit wishy washy, we're like, hey, what time are we gonna swim? We're like 8 or 9. He's like 8 or 9. Like 8. He's like, okay, see you at 8. And that's it. There's no like, hey, I'll be there at 8:15, because I used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
For only training. I'd be like, hey, let's start at 8, and then I text him and be like 8:30. I'd always get it done, but it'd be 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
With Josh, it is 7:50 if I said 8.
Yeah.
And 8 is late. So it is.
Yeah.
And I realized that helped me a ton, because it was just like, all right, this is getting done at this time.
It
The
definitely
end.
helps to have someone to meet. Like,
Yes,
we're
that's
meeting
big.
at time. And
Especially
then,
when you're starting a habit.
Yeah.
Lance is good about this, especially with me. Like, it'll be like a weekend, and I've got a million things going on.
Yeah.
I got to mow the lawn. I got to like take out the trash.
We
I
should
got
get rid of Jake's lawn. This is if Jake didn't own a house and rented an
loves
apartment,
his
his
lawn.
schedule would be so
love
good.
my yard.
He loves his
my,
lawn.
My yard work is fantastic. That's like
My
one
yard
of my,
work is not
my pastimes. It's very therapeutic. But I'll get all those things. Got to run the errands. Got to go to Costco and Home Depot and Bed Bath and Beyond if I've got time. All that fun stuff, right? So Lance will just show up at my house, and all of a sudden I'll see the Ring doorbell like chime, and he's like knocking on the door, and I get the little notification like someone's at my door. Lance is here. He's in his kit on his bike. He's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like he'll just
There you
do
go.
this. Like, let's go.
Showed
Yeah.
up.
All right. I guess I'm not doing any of this other stuff. Let's go for a bike ride.
That's even better than a planned time, because that's just like you can't even
Well,
you can't even procrastinate. There wasn't even a time to
he'll-
do it. It's like boom, it's happening
He'll ask
now.
me a couple times, "Hey, we're gonna ride today? What do you want to do for a ride?"
Yeah.
He's trying to be nice about it, and all of a sudden he's
great
like, "Right,
peer
you've
pressure.
procrastinated enough.
Yeah.
Knock it off. Let's
And
go
I can
for a ride."
see that you're home.
Exactly.
the
Peer,
old stalker
peer pressure
technique.
and stalking are great.
Yes.
That's,
Okay,
how,
I'm just
how are you
going
going to
over
achieve
there.
your 2023 goals? Intense peer pressure. That's how you're
To
going
go back though, I think that's probably one of the best things that you can do to stop procrastinating is get somebody else involved in that decision making process.
Accountability with somebody.
But
Yeah.
if you also put it out there that I'm going to do this to other people, and then all of a sudden you don't, and they're going to look at you and say you didn't.
I think that's a double-edged sword because, and I've seen like studies of this too, where it's like they'll say like people that say they've got this goal feel like they've already done it in some way.
I know.
is-
There's a word for it. I
can't
or
remember what it
phrase.
is,
I forget what they call it.
but it's
yeah.
like,
some validation. But
yeah. It's like I'm
You
not
didn't
gonna
even do the goal,
I'm
and
not
people
gonna-
are like, yeah.
I'm gonna get in shape in January on January 1st and go to the
Well,
gym
it's
and
funny.
be ripped. Like
It's-
I don't have to do that. I
it's-
already said I did it.
We're not talking about the actual goal, though. We're talking about
No,
taking
this
that
is-
first
Yes.
step,
Yep.
just doing
The actual
one
part of your
thing.
schedule.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, like I generally schedule the vast majority of all the rides that go out on the Dialed Cycling Strava.
Yeah.
And I do that because I know that once I put it out there, and
You're
if I
gonna be
say
there,
that I'm
yeah.
going to go, I'm going to be there,
Yeah.
and that holds me accountable.
Yep.
Okay, here's a good example of that. We did a New Year's Day gravel ride
Yep.
with the team. We had like a dozen people there, but Paul first, our good shop mechanic here at the
Yep.
shop at the lab, he agreed to go. Well, Paul is 24.
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think he's 24. He agreed to go. We live near each other, and so we always carpool when we go to these gravel rides together.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, what time I'm like, Paul, I'm going to come pick you up. He's like, okay, I've already committed to the ride. I'll be at your house at 9 a.m. I showed up at 9 a.m. He had gotten home like 20 minutes before that.
Yeah.
From the night before? Oh, good Lord.
It was New Year's Eve. He's
Yeah.
24.
Yeah.
He's out with his buddies. He went to a party. He was downtown.
He
was
probably crushed you guys on the ride too.
Yes, of course he
crushed
did.
you guys.
He's out all night. He gets like he slept-
Alcohol vapor
he
fumes
slept-
flying
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
He slept on the cold floor somewhere. He didn't even have a blanket.
Eats
you know?
a Pop-Tart and drops Lance on the first climb.
Yes, he did. But would Paul have showed up if he hadn't committed to the team or me?
He'd still be on the
that I
streets.
was going
He'd
to
still
be
be on the
there?
streets somewhere.
He'd still be on the streets
Yep.
of Portland somewhere.
Yep.
It was just like it was pure accountability.
I'm
going to be there. You said you're going.
Yeah.
Here we are.
In undergrad, when I really started taking training seriously, I had a buddy who to this day I will always thank. His name was Mike Girodot. And that guy was the only other somewhat competitive cyclist in the entire Northwest area of Ohio, I feel like. And every single Sunday morning we would ride at 8 a.m. And Mike was a very schedule-based guy. And it was 8 a.m. He didn't care if I was walking back from somebody's apartment at 7 a.m. It was 8. And we did have a funny episode
we're
once
going.
where long story, I had fallen asleep outside of a Taco Bell that was right next to our house. And Mike rode up on his bike and literally like sees me over there, comes over, wakes me up. He's like, right now, get inside, like get the train. I think I slept 25 seconds and got on the bike and went on a century ride that day. And I will never forget how terrible that felt, and guaranteed got 8 hours of sleep for the rest of my life after that. But yeah.
Ouch.
God being in your early 20s.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, early 20s.
I do have to head out. Cassie's going to grab me here soon.
All right.
Yep.
I think part of that.
What's
is-
the next one?
I
Let
was just gonna say,
let me
like,
get a hot 30-second take on this next
as far
one.
as accountability, having a team.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Team or a good club if you're not into the racing
Yeah.
thing.
Or
so.
just go run at Alabama.
Yeah, like
Run with the
team-
fastest people in America, and you'll be held pretty accountable.
The team is there; they're going to have practice, you
Yes.
know, and you know what time practice is.
Oh, yeah.
it's just there's that easy.
Yeah, practice time doesn't change.
Yeah, I think that's nice.
Master swimming, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, master swimming practice.
The next one, commit to reading and studying. Do that over and over again. And once you're done with that, repeat and do it again. Find some good people that can help educate you, that can help guide you down this path. So,
Yeah.
Well, that's two things, right? So there's reading, and then there's finding someone to help be a mentor type person.
well, it's if you find a good book or you find a good YouTube channel or something like that. You can go
Right.
through and watch all that. And you're going to
Sure.
assimilate it. But if you go back and watch it again, you can really just take it in even more. You can get an even deeper understanding or appreciation of maybe some things that you missed.
Yeah, and not that books can't be mentors too, or you could read a book about Abraham Lincoln, and it could be your, faux mentor in a way, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
Stay educated, people.
Yep, that was kind of the little softball one. It's kind of an easy one. Yeah, you gotta go do a little bit of research about the stuff that you're trying to do so that you can be proficient with it. All right, the next one: associate with those who will inspire, motivate, and support you. And that kind of hits on the head with the whole join a team thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Team helps.
If you got to surround yourself with good people. If you don't surround yourself with good people, you're surrounded by crap people.
Yeah,
There's a funny saying, or not a funny saying, but a saying that a lot of people have used, and I fully support and buy into it. Is like, show me your friends, and I'll show you your future.
Right.
Like if you are around motivated people, you're gonna find
Oh,
yourself.
God, you guys suck. I'm in trouble. This is not
well,
good.
that's because we're your friends.
I'm leaving
Yeah,
now
you're-
because of
you're in
that
trouble.
last point. Let it be very clear. I'm leaving on that point.
Go hang out with Cassie. Cassie's
I need to
cool.
go hang out with my wife. You guys
Cassie's
suck.
Good. She's good people.
Cassie's got a good future ahead of her.
I'm filling up this box with a hat, an empty peanut butter thing, and an empty
There's still some.
energy drink as we're
And your
talking
Pop
about
That's
Tart, dude.
important.
Don't forget
and
your
a Pop-Tart.
Your Kroger Pop Tart. Is that what that is?
See everybody? Yes, Kroger brand.
See you, bud. Who are your friends? Who are you spending time with? And who do you associate with is really going to be a good indicator of like whether or not you're going to be successful at making better habits. I mean, if you like to hang out with Lance, you're going to be out drinking and doing drugs and out all hours of the night, and you're not
So
going to be
true.
very like productive first thing in the morning or at all in life.
I'm a firm believer that you are a kind of a conglomeration of the last 10 people you've had interactions with. So, or the people you've had conversations with. So the people you hang around or the people you spend your time with, you become more like them, which is why I choose to spend time with idiots like you and why I've turned out to be such an idiot. But I try to, choose people that I want to be with and not toxic people.
And I think the thing is you have to respect yourself enough to be like, I don't have time for this.
Yes.
Because their problems are going to be your problems.
Yes.
The thing I see is like they want to tell you about their problems and dump their problems on you. And you just have to be like, that's a line that I don't need. Like, you don't need that drama in your life.
Or how guilty you feel if one of those toxic people ends up being a family member.
Yeah.
The things you say yes to or the things that you are saying no to are going to be a direct indicator to the things that you're saying no to. So if you're making room for that and you're saying yes for that, you're losing valuable time and mental space. And you're going to let that person live in your head and be a problem for you and drag you down and monopolize your time. That's not good.
I think that takes time to learn.
It does.
And that's one of those things where it's like, how do I get my kids to learn that lesson as soon as possible that and I don't know how to do that. I'm not a good parent, but like, it'd be great if they were like, oh, this person's got issues and I'm good without having all of their extra baggage and things to deal with or whatever. It's like, I think you learn that slowly the hard way.
Yeah.
But you have to have those life experiences.
Yeah, sure.
And if you don't have those life experiences, how are you ever going to truly know that you shouldn't be giving that the time of day?
Yeah.
So, but as a parent, you can help them see that sooner so that they're not rinsing and repeating it and doing it over and over and over again.
Repeating.
Oh, yeah.
Are you wearing the t-shirt?
And the hat.
Wait,
I
you
mean,
had the
I'm
same
double
t-shirt
branded.
on 3 days ago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and the
I
same hat 2
I have,
days ago.
okay. So I have this.
He was
same
wearing a green shirt last time.
Was it bright green?
Yeah.
I have I think 5 of them or something, and I try to like not wear the same one in the next video that I wear in the next one or whatever. So that yeah, you guys.
You guys disagree with that one in any way, shape, or form?
No.
That's an easy.
Go find good people.
Good find. Good. There are good people out there, and they're worth your time.
Yep. The last one, number 7, free up precious time. Free up precious time.
I need more free time.
I think we all do. I mean, again, you don't have to say yes to everything.
No.
And you know what you need to accomplish. If you're not doing that, then if you're just sitting down and watching the Kardashians like Lance does, I mean,
love
you're
those
just
Kardashians. That was the last episode, wasn't it?
Killing the Kardashians.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
It's not called Killing the Kardashians.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
Keeping up with the Kardashians. I know this, Lance. I'm a big fan.
We've talked about this already so many times. People always say they don't have time, but do they really not have time? Do you know anybody that's like, none of us here at this table are perfectly efficient with our time, and we literally don't have time?
That's an excuse that you should use all the time to tell people that you don't have time when you want to tell them you don't have, like, you need to free up more time for yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a classic example. Elon Musk. How many companies is he running? How many?
7 or 8.
5.
And they're gigantic, huge, massive companies. Plus he has kids and a wife he has
Ex.
a kid
Yeah.
and an ex,
He's got
regardless.
a couple kids.
He's got a lot of kids.
But he still has plenty of personal free time to do what he wants or spend his time with. He still's, even though he owns Twitter now,
he tweets a lot.
He still
Got enough
tweets a
time to
lot, which
tweet.
means he's
got time.
Yeah, he's got time. That's my point, is that even the people that seem the absolute busiest still have time.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the people that work for him, maybe not so much time, but
Right.
Don't consume things that are going to crush your spirit or bring you down. Just don't do it. I mean, if you are consuming the things that are going to take away that time and bring down, we kind of talked about that with the negative people in your life, but just.
That's why I don't do 7-hour races anymore.
Crush your spirit.
It crushes my spirit.
Lock in time by eliminating things you don't need. Again, asking yourself that question of like, do I need this right now? Is this helping me achieve my goal? Is this positive habit forming? So ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question often, and I think you'll like, oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be going down this rabbit hole, or maybe I don't need to know what's going on.
The internet is the worst for that, right? Where you're like, oh, I'm just going to search this one thing, and then you're like 30 minutes later.
Right. It's like YouTube, it's kind of the same. Or TikTok.
I think it was like last night I was searching. I was like, what percentage of the earth really is water? It's like 71.2. And it's like, that's the rabbit hole that I went down. Like, that's such a pointless waste of time.
Right.
And it was just because, like, that's what popped in my head, and I wanted to know the answer. And I'm like, I can spend some time here.
Yeah, say no to the inessential so you can do the essential. It's a double win.
Yeah.
Right? All right, what else we got here in this? Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that
was good.
About covers that.
That's a good discussion. That's a good topic.
I think it's good to have that every year. Once a year,
Yes.
just kind of like refresh.
Agree.
And just the more you hear it, the more you can like actually start to employ some of these things. I mean, some of these things will stay with me. And that whole question of like, is what I'm doing right now productive? I ask myself that often, and I'm like, no, it's not. And I look down and I'm like, yep, I just wasted 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I could have been doing something else.
Okay.
Just get to it. All righty then. Hey, do we want to do the whole lead out thing?
Lead out news.
Yeah. You want to do that? Is that guy around?
Champ Bailey.
Is he?
He's
Champ
not.
Bailey, top 5. I think he's in the top 5 discussion.
Champ is here. Yes.
he is here.
He was out around the corner, but now he's here. Yes, there are 2 fantastic cyclocross races to talk about. So it's only been a few days since we last recorded, so there's only been only 2 cyclocross races. One was in Loenaut in Belgium, and the big 3 all showed up. Pidcock, Wout van Aert, and Matthew Vanderpool. And they answered the question that we didn't answer last week. What would happen in a 3-up sprint between the 3? Because it came down to the final finishing straight, and they were all together. Vanderpool was on the front, Pidcock was second, and Wout van Aert was third, coming into the final finishing straight. Who won?
Wow.
I don't know.
Wout.
Really?
Yes. He just out-sprinted both of them.
That's impressive because, I mean, MVP can sprint. They've got a
MVP
lot of
can
power.
sprint.
I don't
He
think he
does.
has the same pop as Wout.
It's just a little different.
I think Wout's more of a pure sprinter than he is.
And Vanderpool was riding the difficult sections better than Wout was. But he was just able to catch back on, and then he out-sprinted him. It was a very exciting finish to watch.
Good cross season, right?
It's been really good. So that was exciting. Then there was a race New Year's Day it was GP Sven Nys.
Yep.
Also in Belgium.
No
And
Wout, no MVP.
No Wout, no MVP. So it was all Pidcock.
Finally,
show.
those guys are gone.
Finally,
Wait,
they're
hold on
gone.
a second.
So he gets to the lead. He only has like a 15 or a 10 or 15 second lead for most of the race. The race had one feature where there were these rolling whoops that were downhill. And one of them you could kind of get some air off of. And on the last lap, Pidcock kind of tried to tail whip over the thing, and he crashed.
Oh, man.
He went over.
He had it in the bag.
He had it in the bag. He lost control, went over the
Flipped
fence.
over the barrier fence, yeah.
Had to jump back over. Both Ellie Easterbit and Michael Van Tarenhout went past him, and he ended up third. So he had the win in the bag, and he blew it. So, sorry, Pidcock.
But that race isn't that important.
It's not.
It's not the World Championship.
So still a few more races to go in this Christmas period, so it should be pretty interesting.
Hope he's okay.
Yeah. They weren't. He kept up with them for a bit, and then he just shut it down.
Yeah, he gave up.
It looks like
Just
he
wondering
just
if
kinda
he
gave up.
banged himself a little bit or something, started getting tied to him, or if he just was more over this, I'm done. It's not worth it.
Oh my gosh, it was exciting to watch. So those
Good
were
racing.
two fun things. That's it. Champ out.
Champ out. Any triathlon-y stuff?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked, but I'm gonna say no.
Just nothing, huh?
We need Evan here for that.
All right. Patreon.
Okay.
All right, we're going to do this whole Patreon drawing here. We've got a bunch of stuff in the goodie bag, and Matt's going to pull a name out of the hat, folded up piece of paper, is going to unfold it, and it is a...
Nathan
Skanky.
Nathan Skanky from Gilbert,
Congratulations.
Arizona.
There you go. Nathan, you get to, I guess when you listen to this, shoot us an email. You've got that email. Or DM us on, I think you've DM'd us on Instagram before. We'll get something shipped out to you in Arizona, and we'll kind of run through the list of goodies that we have in that box so you can pick something out that works well for you.
He's a triathlete too, Matt.
I'm
You would
sorry.
like him.
You mean he's cool?
Yeah.
If you yourself are interested in becoming a Patreon, you can go to dialpodcast.com, click on the Patreon link, and go pick a Patreon level that works best for you. We really appreciate the support. Good times. All right. This feels weird. Backpedal.
Backpedal.
So, Lance, what you been up to?
Very last.
Well, it is kind of fitting. We're going to backpedal.
We
at
are
the end of the show.
going to backpedal at the end of the show.
Take it even back further, yeah.
Actually, I did 19 and a half hours last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Of course,
a lot of stuff on the trainer.
a lot of stuff on the trainer. It was mostly the trainer ride. We talked about this because I was doing the Festive 500. I did manage to do Festive 700.
Doesn't
I
count.
did 700
Extra bonus points.
Oh, wait, you did do that outside gravel ride. Is that a part of that?
It is not.
Oh, because it's on the first.
that
It goes
was on
to
the
31st.
first.
Yeah, you failed.
I did one ride outside, one 30-mile ride outside because I had to put a new tire on it.
Got to
and
go
make
800
sure
miles
it
for that to
was-
work.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
good
good job.
A lot of indoor stuff. Did you do another Century or anything crazy like that?
No, we just did this New Year's Day gravel ride, and it was like 58 miles and like 5,500 feet of climbing. So it was a ton of climbing. So
It's fun.
And there was 12 of us, and we got lost in the middle of it.
That's good.
What?
That's a good part of gravel riding.
Was this a route that was new to everybody that was there?
No, but okay.
Just made a wrong turn at Albuquerque?
Yeah, it was my fault, actually.
Yeah, we know. We all know.
Just go bombing down the hill in front of everybody, miss a turn?
Yes. It's exactly what happened. Here's what happened is, okay, John Hatfield he bought a new gravel bike. He
Yeah.
got a BMC URS.
Okay.
And he is descending significantly better than he did on his
How does he like
cross
it?
bike. He loves it.
Does he? Good.
Yes. He's
He was on his
descending
cross bike before.
Yeah, and so now he's on a gravel bike and he's descending way better. So now he's like, okay, generally me and Paul are like the fastest gravel descenders because Paul is just young and
Paul's Paul.
fearless, and I'm old and fearless.
Right.
And I'm also heavy, so I can go downhill fast. And I was bombing down this gravel road, and the road split. One left went up a little bit, and one went like steep downhill. And there was a gate, but the gate was open. And John and Hatfield and I were both like stormtroopering together, like we were like right next to each other, and we both went right down the hill, and that was the wrong direction.
Oops. How far down that did you go?
It added an hour.
Wow.
And everybody followed you too?
Everybody followed us. We were just enough in sight that they could see us, so everybody followed us. And then we kept thinking that our Wahoos and Garmins were redirecting us back to the course, and it kept taking us on places where there were no roads. Like there used to be a road, and the road no longer existed.
Yeah.
Or like it was a Forest Service, not even a Forest Service road, like a logging road, and the logging road had been taken out. And so after fooling around for an hour, we eventually had to ride back up that steep thing and find our way back down. So
Dang.
So yeah, we were out there for almost 5 hours. So like 4.5 hours. So it was a long New Year's Day, and it was a little chilly. It didn't rain on us, but oh my gosh, we had a great time. So that
Nice.
Nice.
it was fun.
Cool. Matt LeGrand, take it back.
I don't really
To the
have
old
anything
school.
crazy backpedal wise to say. Running not great, but
Did you get outside?
got out there and ran a little bit.
Good for you.
Did not really get out on the bike. I did some Zwifting, and then I've been in the pool, been swimming.
Did you do anything on New Year's Day?
Yes, I mean I do something every day. New Year's Day, I did a run and a bike.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been your thing for a while. It's like every day you need to sweat a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Something
Yeah,
along those
I always
lines?
do that. I mean, I had a big block
That's
of time
Matthew
off.
McConaughey's.
Yeah, me and Matthew. I mean, we're tight.
Yeah.
We have the same plans. We have the same coach.
Yep.
And
So pretty similar too.
we're so similar. But yeah, I think it's just get the volume up. You know, I'm happy doing something every day. I kind of like doing that 1 or 2 things per day.
Cool.
Pretty fun.
I rode on the trainer almost about 6.5 hours.
That's not bad.
It's up.
How's
It's
the
good.
hip? How's the hip feeling?
It's still
Not
crappy.
perfect?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually was going to ride again on Saturday, but I ended up having to take the day off because I went to acupuncture, and she kind of got it. It's like kind of like a mix of acupuncture and massage, and I was black and blue and swollen and not feeling 100%.
Oh, after that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I woke up the next morning. I'm like, oh, look at all those bruises. That's cool. And I think I was actually texting you or somebody.
You were
Maybe it was
texting
Slack.
us.
I had like over 30 needles in me, and I was like stuck. And if I move anything, like you get like these shocking feelings. Like this is not happy times.
We were trying to settle on our training camp
house,
place
yeah.
house in the middle of Jake getting acupuncture, and it was pretty.
You're
fun.
supposed to relax. They've got the relaxing music going on. And I told him like this. And she knows she's awesome that way. She's actually really funny. I'm like, I've got other things I need to do. So I'm like, all right, I'm
gonna have my phone.
I've got 20 minutes. I've got my phone, and my face is going through one of those little whole things that you're like face down on. And I actually moved the little armrest thing down even further so I can put my phone on it and I can be scrolling through there. I'm like, I need to find time to go find a house for us to have for training camp. And I jumped onto VBRO and, oh, well, look at this brand new listing that just popped. I honestly thought we were going to have to maybe change destinations of where we were going.
We couldn't find a place to fit us all.
Yeah, we couldn't. There's no places down there that had the ability to sleep as many people as we had in the area that we wanted to be. Or it was going to be like multiple houses and there was nothing that was really close to each other. I'm like, this just kind of changing the whole dynamic of what we've done for like 4 or 5 years. And this house popped up. It was brand new. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. It's on like, what, 20 acres or
It's on
something?
12 acres.
12 acres.
Wow.
The
Yeah.
only thing it doesn't have, it looks like, is a spa.
There's no hot tub.
Yeah.
There is a pool, and there's beds for 20.
Yeah.
It's been booked. Hatfield actually booked it.
Yeah, he and I
So-
were kind of text each other. So he took care of that, and now I've got to go out and get everybody to pay to get in there and do the whole thing. It's going to be fantastic, and it's really close to the start of the Mount Lemon climb too, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, and not too far from the good bike paths that
Yeah.
go around Tucson.
So we
as
got
well.
lucky. So
yeah.
anyway, that's what I was doing while I was getting my
Very cool.
acupuncture. So that was my week. It's my hips not. It's just kind of crappy. trying different things, doing different things. Just gonna keep pushing forward, and I'm hoping that in the next 2 or 3 weeks that it's something that will settle down so I can get into a rhythm and a routine. Because if I don't, this training camp's going to be me going down there and cooking food for people and driving a SAG vehicle, and it's going to really suck. So
it's going to make it not as fun.
No. So anyway, anything else? Any other backpedaling for y'all?
That's it.
No. All right, let's do this one last thing. Matt LeGrand. You got one last thing for us?
Last week I posted a video of things I actually used during, I don't remember exactly what I titled it. Things I actually used during 2022.
Yeah.
Talked about the watches that I wore the most and the, swimming, biking, running gear that I used the most. It was okay. Okay video. Just check it out if you're curious to know what I used.
I watched it. It was great.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Loved it.
Aside from your Apple Watch video that went massively viral, is that like 300K, almost 400K?
Yep.
That's crazy. Aside from that one video, what was your most popular video in 2022?
The Epics 2 video when I said I was wrong about the Epics 2 or something like that.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a catchy title. People love,
clickbaity stuff.
But that one did. I don't remember where it ended up, but probably did okay.
Sweet.
Those those 2 videos were top 2. There's another Apple video that did pretty well. So yeah. And I think I'm going to post, I might actually post this video that I'm really excited about the concept. And it's like how to buy a GPS watch in 2023. Talk about like pricing and features and, size and all the things that people might want to consider when they're buying a watch in 2023. I think that would be a nice video to make. And then I have a whole bunch of videos that I have that are just like, there's one video, there's like a watch that I haven't reviewed yet that I definitely need to get out. And then there's some stuff where it's like, I've had this for 100 days and I really like making videos where it's like, I've had this watch for 100 days, like the Apple Watch, for example, coming up on 100 days. And it's like, I would love to have a, Apple Watch Ultra after 100 days video.
Yeah, I appreciate those too, because I like your 2 cents when you can give like your honest opinion. It's not you. It's just most generally like when they just do an unboxing and then they reread all of the stuff that you can read on the back of the box and say, this seems like it could be a great fill in the blank product. Yeah. Those videos, I'm like, I didn't really learn anything. I could see what it looks like, but I want to know what your 2 cents is. I want to know what your experience is, and, like, whether or not you give this thing the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
Like what was annoying after 100 days of using it?
Yeah.
Like that's, I think, interesting. So so I like making those, and I always try to talk about the durability of the watch. Like, you've knocked it around a couple times. How's it holding up? And these watches do pretty well. So
good.
Yep.
Cool. Yep. You got one last thing for us?
Nope.
Nothing.
No one last things.
What are you gonna ride this week?
I'm gonna ride. It's supposed to pour rain for most of the week.
It's like the foreseeable future.
Yeah. So I'll be on the trainer.
Okay.
I'm gonna test out one of the kicker bikes.
Are you really?
I think so. Yes, I am.
I'm testing the Zwift Hub. I'm very excited about testing it.
Did you get one?
I got one, and it's just been sitting in my I haven't opened it yet because I like to film the unboxing of it or whatever.
Did they send it to you, or did you buy it?
They sent it to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's $500, and so the thing I'm excited about is the fact that this is a product that's very affordable compared to the other products that are in its category on the market. And it's a way to get people into this stuff. And the whole thing is like, all you have to do is count your cogs. We'll put the cassette on for you. Just tell us what you want, and it'll all come set up. Like the setup process is supposed to be super easy. Mm-hmm. And I just think how important that is for getting new people into indoor cycling. I don't know if that's what we want to call it, but like getting people into cycling is trying to make this process super easy for them. And I think that that's what they're doing here. So I am excited about it. There may be some accuracy issues with the actual trainer itself. So that's what we're going to be testing.
What about the lawsuit with Wahoo?
Is that still? It has settled.
They settled it?
It has settled, yeah.
Really?
Yep. That's been settled, yeah.
So was it something that settled outside of court, obviously, and they're good with this now?
I think it went to court. I think it did end up going into court, and there was a settlement that was reached.
Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
It's a Google search away if we want to figure out the results, but I think
was unsure where that was at, but that's crazy.
Yeah, and so the Zwift Hub itself is basically it's basically a third party trainer that they've licensed, and they've made some minor changes too.
Yep. Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. I really don't have one last thing other than I need to get things sorted out with my body. It's getting to be annoying now. The whole hip thing, like my shoulder, I know what I'm working with there, and I know that it's not going to get better, and hopefully I won't make it worse. But this whole like not being able to make it do what you want it to do, even though you're giving it time off or you're doing all the small things. It's really annoying. Missing that ride on New Year's Day, the gravel ride, annoyed the hell out of me. I was not happy about that, so I kind of poured myself into getting everything done. My house looks fantastic right now.
That's good.
Yard's clean. Spent way too many hours on the roof, mind you. On the roof.
That's a
This
lot.
is how you're going to get hurt again, dude. You're going to be careful up there.
Definitely break something to it. I know, but anyway, help me. Help me. Help me.
I'm
somehow.
here.
You guys,
I'm here for you.
You guys fix
Kind
it.
of.
Come on.
Not
please.
going. Don't go up on the roof. Don't go up on the roof,
I'm
Lance.
not going on the roof.
All right, we'll be back with another one of these next week. Thanks for listening. And until then, bye for now.